Hey everybody, give me just 1 minute to confirm this live stream's up and we'll be good to go. Okay, looks like we are good. All right, sorry, let me just do a quick look through on attendance here and see if we've got anybody else joining, make sure that we've got a quorum.
Thanks, Melanie. We have 5 board members present.
Okay. All right. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order here at 5:03. Abby, do you have attendance taken care of?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Ashley, thank you for joining us. Is there any other, or is there any public comment tonight?
Yes, I would like to ask about y'all was talking about the procedures for the staff, the handbook last month, and it would say that for the if children have seizures, y'all supposed to refrain them. I thought that you're not supposed to touch them at all. You know, refrain them. So I was trying to get clarification on that.
Yeah,
Yes,
Elizabeth, you want to handle that? Okay.
yes, we do not restrain anyone having a seizure. That's not in our policy.
Okay, I just want to make
But
sure.
we're happy to share the specific policy with you, Ms. Smith, if you'd like.
No, I just want to make sure because I thought last time that's what I heard. I just want to make sure because what me being working in education as well, I was like, I don't think that sounds right. So I just didn't want to make sure.
You're right. It's not
Yeah.
correct. We don't do that. And our nurse has trained us on that. And all staff have completed vector training as well.
Okay, that's all right now.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Smith. Any other public comment? Okay. We'll move on to approving the minutes from the July 22nd meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes that are in the board folder there?
I actually think there's one correction, a simple correction.
Okay.
I think at the very beginning when it says A. Simpson made a comment, it should be A. Smith for the public comment section.
Got it. Yep. I think, you know what? I think that I submitted the old version there. I believe that Elizabeth had caught that. And yes, so I will make that change.
Okay.
Thank you, Melanie. Any other questions or comments? Okay, well, I will move that with the modification to item 1, section C, that will now read A. Smith asked about lunch service, that the board approves the minutes from the July meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mary Ann. All in favor, please say aye or raise your hand. All right, passes unanimously. All right, next on the agenda is contract MOU approvals. And so we've got, as Ms. Smith brought up, we went over the first reading of the employee handbook, the crisis response guide, and the scholar and family handbook at the last meeting. And Elizabeth, do you want to just kind of walk through any changes that were made to those? I mean, or I say walk through, if there were any changes other than what we discussed.
Yeah, I thought that we had some really great feedback at the last board meeting, and so the recommendations were all put into action in those handbooks. And so we are, um, these are the final proposed versions.
I just have a question on that as well. I guess what I saw, were still like the red line versions with comments. Is that correct? Or were we supposed to get a more final version?
There is a final version there now. I apologize, Melanie. I had uploaded the wrong version. So those clean versions are in the folder, but that was just done recently.
Okay, thank you.
And so I know that those were added in late. I don't know if anyone has any concerns or wants to take a minute to look through those now, if there's any questions. Okay, then um, I will move that we approve the employee handbook, the crisis response guide, and the scholar and family handbook that are currently in the board folder.
Seconded.
Thank you, Mary Ann. All right, any questions or discussion around that? Okay, all in favor, please say aye or raise your hand. All right, thank you, Melanie. All right, that motion passes unanimously. Next on the agenda is the MOU with ABA Therapy Services. Elizabeth, do you have that one up that you want to walk through? Just kind of, or just at least give an overview of what that MOU
Yeah.
encompasses?
So it just encompasses ABA therapists coming on site for specific scholars. So the state's recently lifted restrictions around having ABA services in school that are not directly acquired by the school, but situations where a family's private insurance pays for ABA services. And so we have a few families in this situation who have ABA covered through their private insurance and would like the ABA therapist to be at the school with their scholar for all or part of the day. And this is the MOU with the agreement with that company and that individual as to that working agreement and what that looks like.
And there's no financial cost to the school for this at all.
That's correct.
Right. Okay. Any questions on this MOU?
And these services are only as needed.
That's correct. It's only in a situation where a family's private ABA, a family comes to us saying, we'd like our scholars ABA therapist to either come to school with them, support them at school, or observe them at school.
Thank you.
All right. Is there a motion to approve this MOU with ABA Therapy Services?
So moved.
Thank you, Marcus. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, thank you, Abby. All in favor, please say aye or raise your hand. All right, passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, next is, let's see, let me pull up. Give me 1 second, please. Trying to juggle too many things on one screen here. Okay. Next item on the agenda is a strategic planning resolution. And as we'll talk about a little bit more, just looking at what the next 3 to 5 years will bring for Compass. And we are moving out of the startup phase and into more of the established school that will be looking to finalize our long-term home. And seems like the appropriate time to begin a strategic planning process. And Mary Ann, very grateful to you for taking the leadership on this document. This would be a huge lift for all involved. And so I think it would be a good opportunity potentially to bring some previous board members in who had did a lot of heavy lifting at Compass, and maybe couldn't maintain the monthly commitment, but would be interested in being involved in strategic planning for the school and have expertise in that area. But this would just be really adopting a resolution tonight to begin this process. And so I don't know if you've had a chance to look through the document that I included in there, but again, thank you, Mary Ann. It's beautifully done, and let's see. I guess first, I'll ask if there's any questions. I've been kind of rambling there, but okay. Let me pull up this resolution. So I would make the motion that the board authorizes the school to undertake a comprehensive strategic planning process driven by the board, culminating in the development and adoption of a 5-year strategic plan. Is there a second for that motion?
Second.
Thank you, Marcus. Any questions or comments?
Eric, I guess the only comment I'd make is normally this is something that organizations significantly invest in from both a time and a financial component. What we are proposing to do here is commit time and just personal energy from the board. And it's going to be something collaborative, but I think the only way that it gets done on this proposed timeline is if this does feel like a project everybody is very willing to engage in over the next calendar year. And it's a big commitment. So just wanted to, normally when I've engaged in this process, an external person has been contracted to kind of like ringmaster everything, and we're doing it a little bit differently. I love the idea of bringing in past board members who could be a support. I think that would be incredibly helpful, but I just did want to name it's a little bit different. I think infinitely worth doing, but I just wanted to lift that up.
Yes, no, thank you. I appreciate it. That's yes, that was going to be my next comment as well, I guess, is that this is an ask of everyone, and just be thinking about others who we may be able to lean on to help with this process, because as Mary Ann said, I've been involved in some of these as well, and we've always had, a paid kind of organizer who's guiding us through that process. And we do have a couple of people who have served on our board before who have pretty extensive experience with strategic planning, and who are still very supportive of the school. So I'm going to check in with them as well. But if there ends up being any sort of a financial component cost to this, we'll come back to the board for approval for that. So, all right. So
Will we be open to more people than just previous board members as well?
I think so. I mean, I think anyone who, understands the education space and just the landscape in Charleston would be super helpful, or has a lot of strategic planning experience.
Okay. I have a few people in mind.
Okay. Awesome.
Thanks, Marcus. Do you mind just shooting an email to maybe me and Mary Ann with their names so we can reach out? Thanks.
All right, so I made the motion. Marcus, you seconded it, right? Is that correct? Okay. Any other comments or questions? No. Okay. All in favor, please say aye or raise your hand. Great. Thank you very much. Motion passes unanimously. And as Melanie or as Mary Ann mentioned, and then obviously Marcus and Elizabeth as well, if you're interested or if you know somebody who you think might really enjoy this type of work, please let Elizabeth know. That would be great. All right. Next on the agenda is for facilities, one of the options that we've considered for middle school and just potential long-term school home is the opportunity with Kids on Point and the facility that they're constructing in North Charleston. They have asked for us to submit a proposal to their RFP, and that is due next week, September 3rd. And so Nisa, Elizabeth, and I have been working on this response and just thought that we should go ahead and get full board approval. It's non-binding, but just letting you know that we are submitting it. The way that they've structured the deal is essentially just the total facility cost to the school would be capped at 10% of our state revenue, which our current building is around low 20s percent. So it's incredibly affordable. There would be a lot of details to work out in there. And so I can share more about that at a later time, but just wanted to keep everyone posted in terms of that we were responding to this. But again, we're not committing the school to anything at this point, just to be considered in that process. So, are there any questions or comments on that? Okay. Hearing none, is there a motion to approve or to authorize Elizabeth to submit a response to the KOP RFP?
So moved.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Marcus. All right, all in favor, please say aye or raise your hand. Perfect. All right, motion passes unanimously. All right, moving on to financials. Pull up that summary. Okay. So for the month of July, we operated at a deficit. This was not a surprise. Just as a reminder, the way that we're funded is that it's based off of our student count from the previous school year until the 45th day of this school year. And so we're receiving funding for a lower amount of students than what we have. I think last year we ended up with what, 215 roughly, Elizabeth, and then this year we're at 250. And so we've staffed to accommodate 250, but we're being funded at a level of 215. And also just because of the delay in the state approving the budget, we're basically receiving the same level of funding per student as we were last year versus the proposed increase that should kick in here within the next, I believe, month or so. So nothing alarming. We knew that we would have a deficit the first couple of months, and then that will be made back to the school, starting with the 45th day count. I'm just looking through. The Finance Committee met last week, and kind of what helped to also just accelerate that budget deficit this month was that we had a lot of one-time expenses that were incurred for this fiscal year, mostly uniforms, and that was, I think, a $46,000 charge. And we're then also then selling those uniforms to scholars and families, so that money will come in throughout the year. And I think we actually pre-sold some of those, correct, Elizabeth? That would have been in the previous fiscal year. So
That's correct.
um, outside of that, everything kind of looked right around where we expected it to come in. So any questions or comments on the financials? Marcus, did I miss anything else from finance? Good. Okay. All right. The next item on the agenda is an executive session. And so Ms. Smith, I believe I can put you in, I figured this out and then I forget how to do it every month, but I think I can put you in a waiting room and bring you back in as soon as we finish, if that's okay.
Okay.
Okay. So I would move that we enter executive session at this time. Is there a second? Thank you,
Second.
Marianne. Marianne beat you just by a second, Melanie, but thank you. All in favor, please say aye or raise your hand. All right, we are now in executive session. Let me just take a minute to get this configured.